family at Xpress Boats has always strived to be the best. And now they're trying to help their customers be even better at what they do. And that's what I think is so cool about this series called Xpress Outdoors, is the fact that it relates to X's and O's. And how can you strategize to be the best you can be when you're out on the water enjoying the outdoor experience. Whether we're on Kentucky Lake or down in South Louisiana here at Gros Savon, or even in Arkansas chasing mallards in the timber, join us for the Xpress Outdoors experience. Y'all know Bill Lowen? But do you know Bill Lowen, the Bass Elite Series champion?
Come on now, that sounds weird.
Hey, we're back on Pickwick. Gonna do a recap of Bill's tournament. First time on the lake since the win.
It is. The water looks to be about the same level. A little bit different time of the year, but we're gonna go out here and see if we can't catch one. Doug has never caught a smallmouth.
Nope.
That's the challenge for today. He actually said 10-pound largemouth, 4-pound smallmouth. I don't know about the largemouth, but we're hoping he can catch him a smallmouth. If not, we're gonna do a little recap on Pickwick, and then we're gonna go turkey hunting.
Welcome to Xpress Outdoors.
For Elite Series champion, Bill Lowen.
All right, so here we are, back on Pickwick, kind of, how do we say that? Scene of the crime?
Yeah.
I got you out of your element. There's no grass, there's no lily pads.
No.
It's all rocks and docks, and you know, it's kind of a unique situation that I ended up right here in this area where I caught that big fish that made all the differences. You know, the water was falling and I was actually fishing bluff ends at that point. And as you can see right here below us, there's a bluff end right there that I fished my way up to. And actually up here on the other side of the docks, there's another bluff end. So at that point I was running bluff ends, and I said, you know what, I had a couple bites on these docks in practice. So let's just fish up through here and see what happens. So thank God I did that, because this is the area where I caught that big fish. So this was just a section in between bluffs that I actually fished instead of getting on the big motor and idling up there to the bluff. So yeah, man, this was probably the most important fish. I know it was the most important fish that I've ever caught in my career, and it happened right up here. So we're gonna go up here and see if you can't catch one, because you got the rod, the jig, everything.
This is the whole setup.
That is the exact same jig that I caught that fish on. So we're gonna take an old Louisiana boy up here and see if he can't catch a big one on a black and blue jig.
So what was going through your mind that last day? Because we were watching it on live,
right?
And I hate to say it felt like the wheels were coming off the bus, but it almost seemed like that. I know your mind had to have been running.
So here's what happened. I believe it was that very first dock I pulled up to, and I caught what would have been my fourth keeper, right? And right here somewhere about this area, I got to thinking about that message that Denny Brower sent me about, hey buddy, catch me a big one on a black and blue jig for old time's sakes, or however he worded that. And up that dock right there is when I started really thinking about that, you know, that little message that he sent me. And like you said, up to this point, man, I was feeling like it was slipping away. You know, I had 4 what I considered not so big of fish, but I was happy to have them. And like you said, up to that point, I was feeling like maybe we let another one slip away, or the wheels were coming off the bus. But when we got to that dock right up there, I think I'm gonna kiss it when we get up there. I got the most important bite of my career right here. You know, this is just one of them prime staging area docks. You know, just right up here around the corner, there's a creek that those fish go in to spawn. So those fish were setting up, staging up right here, and there was a tremendous amount of current right here, and you know, everybody watched the footage, and I pitched that jig up there under that dock, and I got hung up on a little piece of limb or whatever was under the water there. And when I hopped it up over that limb and the current started sweeping it through there, I got that gunk, got that bite that we all love. And I checked that fish before I set the hook on just to make sure she had it. And when I went to check her the second time, and it was really, really heavy, you kind of get that feeling that you got a big one, but you ain't sure, you know. And I set that hook. When she comes swimming out from under that dock, she looked like she was 10 foot long, and at that point, all I could do was pray to God that she didn't come off, you know. So we're going to use up here and see if we can't catch one off of it. I'd say this dock's been fished about a million times, but this dock's going to have a special place in my heart, probably, without a doubt, for the rest of my life.
So when she finally gave up, came to the top, big old mouth breaks the water, you was able to put your hands on her. What was going through your mind at that point?
You know, it's truly, it's hard to describe that feeling. You know, you heard me screaming and hollering. And
Oh my gosh!
typically that's not me. You know what I mean? Typically I don't scream, holler, I don't get real excited. But when I put my hand in that fish's mouth, and at that point I thought she was a 10-pounder, you know what I mean? Because she was so big. All the emotions that I've had over 13 or 14 years kind of all came out at once. You know what I mean? It was 13 or 14 years of sacrifices and heartaches and close calls, and you know, and not only for myself but for my family, for Jennifer and the kids. You know, we're all in this together. We're a team. You know, they call us Team Scream or Team Lowen, however you want to word that. But when I put my hands on that fish, all those emotions and all those sacrifices all came out at once as almost as a sigh of relief. You know what I mean? It was like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders, and it all showed. You know what I mean? And
yeah, because you had 13, 14 years on tour, 160 some appearances. I don't know how many top 20s and top 10s,
right,
and 3 seconds.
A lot of close calls.
Always the bridesmaid, but never the bride.
Yep.
So
it was like in those events, you always needed something to happen to get the win. You know, maybe to get that big bite. And I've always been voided of that big bite. You know, because look, I'll be honest with you, I'm not the guy that catches a lot of big fish. You know, I'm that guy that can 12 to 15 pound you to death. But to get them big bites for me, they kind of elude me a lot, and this was my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be able to catch a 8.5 off of a dock, fishing my style, fishing the way that I want to fish, and to get that big bite and seal, well, not say, that fish is definitely what sealed the deal, but at that point when I caught that fish, it was early enough in the day, still, you know, 10:30, 11 o'clock, that it wasn't sealed yet. You know what I mean? But what that fish did for me was give me the confidence to stick with my pattern and run it and keep my head down and stay confident. And
yeah, because you had a lot of guys still gunning for you. You know, you had Steve Kennedy was at the dam, Chris Johnson was on his magic dock doing his thing,
Ron
and
Mosley was
Ron
whacking big
Mosley.
smallmouth. You know,
Yeah.
at that point you don't know all that, but everybody watching live did.
Right.
And like I said, that bite for me just let me settle down, do my deal, and know that in my heart I was doing the right thing all day.
So when did you really know that you had it? Did you ever have a feeling it kind of went to the wire for all of us watching it until you put the bag on the scale? We didn't think it was going to happen.
You know,
at least I did.
It went to the wire for everyone, right? So when I was idling into the dock, I thought that I was going to be short, right? And there was 2 things that kind of gave me a clue that I had a chance. One of them was when I pulled into the dock, Jennifer and the kids come walking down, and I could tell, I mean, that's my family. I could tell that they'd been bawling their eyes out. You know, and I'm going to start crying right now. I could tell that they'd been crying all day. And
It's tough, huh?
there's just so much that goes into it that people don't realize, you know? I mean, just a week or just a couple days before I win the event, Fisher, you know, my son, he's 8 years old, he says to me, "Have you ever done this good since I've been alive?" You know what I mean? And when your kids are saying things like that, you know what I mean, it's you can tell how much it truly means to them. But like I said, when I pulled up to that dock, I could tell that they'd been bawling their eyes out all day long. I mean, I could see it in Jennifer's face, I could see it in the kid's face, and that gave me that little hope of, man, maybe it's a lot closer than I think it is.
Right.
So the second thing that did it was, Matt Herron and I are practice partners, and he's one of my best friends, and he's told me if I had a chance to win, he'd be there, right? Because he was going to pack his camper up and he was going to leave and go home because he's only about 2 hours from here. Well, there he is. So now I'm thinking, uh-oh.
Right.
We've really got a shot now.
Starting to see all these pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, pieces of the puzzle are coming together. So I had that fish, that 8-pounder, or however big. At that point, we didn't know how big she was, but she was really, really long. She had a big frame. She was a big frame fish. So I didn't want to put her in the bag with the other 4 fish and kind of get her all crunched up, because we want to take care of the fish. So I put that big fish in its own bag, and I put my 4 other fish in a separate bag, and I carried 2 bags up there to the weigh-in. So typically when you get up there and all your fish are in the bag, you can kind of judge how much weight you got in the bag. Well, I never got to feel that true weight until right before I went up to weigh in. The bass staff came back there and combined my fish into one bag, right? And I wrapped the bag up, and you dunk it down in the tank so the whole bag gets wet so you don't lose any weight.
Right.
And I dunked it down in there, and I lifted it up out of the water, and I thought, oh my gosh, this feels like 20 pounds to me. And at that point, I knew that I had to have, I think the number was 18.2 to win, right? And I thought I had around 18 pounds before I did the lift it up and feel it, right? And when I lifted it up and felt it, and I said to myself, oh my gosh, this feels like 20 pounds to me. I thought I was going to be the first bass angler ever to puke right in the weigh-in tank, you know what I mean? At that point, like I said, I felt like I had 20 pounds, and all I wanted to do was get up there on the stage and put them on the scale. When they put them up there and they dropped them on the scale, and it went 20 pound 5 ounces or 20 pound 8 ounces, whatever that was. That big sigh of relief that I had right here on that dock when I caught that big one, it was twice as bad up there. You could just see the emotions in my face, and it was just.
Yeah. I know all wins are special for everybody, but the whole country was pulling for you on this one. They've been pulling for you for forever.
For a long time.
I think that's what made it so special. And knowing you personally, and knowing what you guys go through in the motor home and the kids are homeschooled, it's your life. It's just like you said, it's not just fishing.
Right. It seems like everything that my family does revolves around the outdoors, whether that's hunting or fishing or whatever that may be. And like you said, we live in a camper throughout the year on the tour. Jennifer homeschools the kids. They don't know any different, and this win to me opened my eyes up to truly how many people or how many fans I have in the sport or how many people are supporting me. And I truly didn't know that. You know me well enough. I don't feel like I'm a professional angler. I feel like I'm just another one of the guys. I put my pants on the same way everybody else does, but the response back that I got from everybody in the fishing industry was overwhelming. Just for example, when I got back to the camper that night, I had like 250 text messages on my phone, and I didn't even think I knew 250 people. So it was truly an eye-opener for me to know how many people are behind me, supporting me, and are my fans. You know what I mean? And that night I tried to answer every one of those text messages because I felt like, hey, if they're going to send me a message, then I need to try to answer them back. And the next morning I get up and I got another 50 or 100 messages, and it was just, it was overwhelming, And then I've heard so many times, at the weigh-in at the Sabine, the weigh-in at Lake Fork, people coming up to me that I don't know at all, congratulating me and telling me, hey man, you made me cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a better deserving guy on tour. Right. Everybody says that, and it is truly the case, especially when you get to know you and hang out with you.
Well, you know what? It's been a long time coming, and like you said, we've been close before, but to be able to finally get over that hump and seal the deal and get one of those big old giant blue trophies was a lifelong dream.
And it's we all have a path. We don't know where it's going sometimes, but coming together with Xpress, even getting to meet you through Grove Savannah and the guys at Xpress, it's just been a kind of a storybook ending here, or not an ending, but like you said, you called it a beginning.
Yeah, it's a beginning. Hopefully it doesn't take that long again. At this point, we're just going to keep our head down and keep grinding the same way we've always done. and see what happens. You know what I mean? It's been an awesome journey to this point, and looking forward to see where it ends.
And it's been a really cool day already. We're just getting good and started, but to already fish the magical dock and
Already fished the magical dock, didn't have no fish
knowing how
on.
much it means to you.
Yeah, this dock right here is going to have a special place in my heart anytime I ever come to Pickwick. You know, there's fish that you catch that you're never ever going to forget, and that may be a 10-inch bluegill that you've caught with your grandkids or your kids or whatever that may be. But there's always going to be a bite that you get that you're never going to forget, and I'm never going to forget the bite that happened right here under this dock.
Well, Bill, I really enjoyed seeing a recap of what you did and what all went through your head. Couldn't have happened to a more genuine guy. Congratulations again.
Thank you, buddy. It's been a long time coming. It's been amazing. I'm not going to lie, but you know, we just went out there and kind of told the story of what happened, and get to share it with everybody. And like you said before, man, it's been amazing, and hopefully it don't take that long again for another win.
Yep. Well, congratulations again. We got to thank Mike Goodman for letting us stay at his camp here on Pickwick, and we're not done yet. We've got the rest of the week. We're going to sneak off, and they say we might get to shoot a turkey this week.
See if we can't shoot a turkey.
Which
we
is
didn't catch any fish today.
Well, and you know what?
We can get a turkey.
I did catch a smallmouth.
You did?
It was a very small mouth.
Small
but scratch it off the list. Haven't killed a turkey. Maybe I can do that this week too.
Hey, stay tuned. We'll see what happens.
Yep.